Today, we'd like to introduce the M&M experience. The M&M experience, which stands for Mirror and Mold Experience, is a two-part process that gives both a visual and tangible representation of infants' palates. Lactation consultants present the molds and photos of the palate to mothers in order to aid their understanding regarding their infant's palate. Here's a quick overview.
To cater to different parents' comfort level, the M&M experience offers a variety of visual and tactile representations of an infant's palate. The examination will start with the lactation consultant using an angled dental mirror to point out aspects, such as the height or depth of the infant's palate, in real time to parents. This will be supplemented by a phone or camera image of the inside of the infant's mouth. Then the parents can choose either an all-natural baby food and cornstarch putty or a name brand dental putty that will be encapsulated in a layer of polyisoprene as to not leave residue or choking hazards. This putty will be gently molded to the infant's palate by hand by the lactation consultant. Images, dimensions, and comments from the photo and model of the palate will be uploaded to a database accessible only by the lactation consultant.
Before the appointment, the lactation consultant must ask the client whether they want the baby food option or the dental putty option. If the parent chooses the baby food option, the lactation consultant must prepare it ahead of time. Here are the steps to make the baby food putty. The materials you will need include 1 cup, 2 spoons, beech nut baby food, cornstarch, and corn syrup. First, add 1 tablespoon of baby food into the plastic cup. Then, add 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch into the plastic cup. Mix the baby food and cornstarch until the mixture is consistent and malleable without falling apart. If the putty becomes crumbly, add half a tablespoon of corn syrup. This makes the mixture into a liquid consistency again. The consistency of the putty should look like this. This putty should be made no longer than 2 hours before the appointment time as to not dry out.
During the appointment. The first step of this process is the mirror and picture. This gives parents a clear visual representation of the palate that the mold doesn't provide by itself. The lactation consultant can take a picture of the palate using the front-facing camera to get the whole view of the palate and enter the picture into the database for future comparisons and reference. The anti-fog dental mirror will supplement this picture, as the lactation consultant can point out different features on the palate in real time using the product.
Next, if the parents are comfortable, they can choose to make a mold impression of their infant's palate to visualize it in 3D form. They have the option to select between 2 types of putty. The first is a brand name Ivismile dental putty. To use this putty, mix the base and catalyzer together before inserting it into the encapsulation. The second option is an all-natural putty made of beech nut baby food and cornstarch, prepared earlier.
The putty will be placed inside a flexible, comfortable, non-latex encapsulation, which, in this prototype, is a skin polyisoprene condom to decrease the risk of a choking hazard. First, if the condom is lubricated, you can go and wash the condom. Next, roll the condom up in order to easily input the putty into the encapsulation. Once the putty is inserted into the encapsulation, you can unroll it fully. This encapsulation ensures that any part of the putty will not fall into the infant's mouth.
The lactation consultant will use their fingers, similar to the process of a regular oral examination, to mold the putty to the infant's hard palate. Once the impression is made, which should take about 10 seconds, the lactation consultant will then remove the putty and encapsulation from the infant's mouth. They will then carefully cut open the encapsulation, first widthwise and then lengthwise, to retrieve the putty without deforming it. This should leave a detailed and accurate mold, which can be used to measure the height, width, and depth of the infant's palate.
The outputs of the mold and mirror will all be stored in a database, including a photo of the palate, picture of the mold, and dimensions of the mold. This would allow the lactation consultant to show parents different types of palates and what is considered abnormal. In addition, the lactation consultant will keep 5 physical molds made of brand name dental putty that shows a range of palates in tactile form.
That is all to our M&M experience. Thank you for listening.